Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. Maybe. Battlefield is back. Maybe. Question mark. I don't really know if I can say if it's back for certain, but they've just promised a whole slew of things that I don't think anybody could have actually guessed whether or not they were going to do this, because for a very long time, we were not sure if Battlefield was listening to people at all because they weren't saying anything. And now, randomly, on the random Thursday that it is, the 16th of April, we have just received an entire roadmap update for the rest of 2026, which is pretty wild because, like I mentioned earlier, nobody thought that this was going to happen. We had no clue if DICE was actually paying attention or not. Turns out they are. There are some pretty huge big ticket items on this roadmap that matter, that are things that people have been asking for. And let's get into it. So we're getting proximity chat. Proximity chat, I actually think, is going to be a fucking amazing feature if they do this properly. There has been a little bit of speculation as to whether or not this is just going into RedSec or base multiplayer modes like Conquest and Breakthrough and the rest of it. We have not really heard if it's going to be both or not. Some people have asked on Twitter and gotten some good responses from the developers, which they are replying to responses again, so that's cool to see. What some of the devs have said is, we're looking to apply the proximity chat wherever the fuck you think it can go. I think that's a great idea, as long as it's like a push to talk button or something of the like, because after all of the time that I've had in milsim games over the last couple of years, thanks to my interest in large scale warfare and all of this nonsense, being able to run up to a guy and press a button and just go, where are they? What the fuck is happening? Are you okay? What's going on? And just, you get into this back and forth of coordinating with your teammates or screaming across the screen and being like, I see him over there, he's hiding in the corner or something, or like being able to call people out. It's going to lead to hilarious moments. It's going to lead to moments where collaboration was just not possible before. I'm excited. I really like that one. The other big feature that's coming back is platoons. Platoons I didn't have a whole lot of involvement in, but my friend base has gotten a lot bigger than just the 4-man squads that Battlefield 6 is capable of providing. So having platoons is a huge deal for me. I think if we can get multiple UI colors for different platoon members, I can join up into servers with people who are in those platoons. Coordinating games with all of these people is going to be way fucking easier to do, and I'm really happy to see that we can actually all jump in together, because right now we're on this weird rotational thing of, we'll be in your squad, I'll be in your squad, we'll flip this, we'll flip that. Doesn't matter. My platoons are in the server with me. I know where the fuck my friends are. Nice to see. Next one, and this one is the arguably one of the biggest ones on the entire ticket, is fucking the server browser is back, supposedly. So there technically is a server browser inside of BF Portal right now. It doesn't really work. It's got a bad format. It's hard to find things. The search features are abysmal. You really can't tell what the fuck is going on inside of it. But it sounds like, from once again developers responding to people on Twitter, they've said the server browser is going to be everything that you want it to be. So I'm expecting ping, region, search by map, being able to fucking find the rotations, see everybody in the lobby, join by spectator, get every section of modes down, custom servers, like official servers, servers I could matchmake into, servers that I could pick from here. It seems like everything is just going to be rolling back in as you would hope. So already, announcing those things on the roadmap is a fucking huge deal and incredibly exciting. And just those features alone, getting some focus, is actually going to make the game a whole lot better by the end of the year. I hope that a lot of that stuff can come in sooner than later. I don't think we're going to see it in Season 3, maybe Season 4, maybe not even till Season 5, but sounds like DICE has actually been listening to those things, and we've got some genuine stuff to look forward to. Now, here's where I start to get even more excited as we start to talk about the maps that they're bringing in. So Season 3 is going to be bringing in 2 new maps. Railway to Goldmud, which is just a spiritual successor essentially to Goldmud Railway. They're not naming it exactly the same, because from the footage that they've shown off, they did update a lot of stuff. There's new foliage everywhere. There's new buildings. The train is running, and you can actually get on the train and have gunfights between different locations on it. And it looks like it's actually fucking huge. They've stated that it's 3 to 4 times bigger than Mirak Valley, which is arguably the biggest map in the game. So answering the critiques of, hey, this shit is too small, this time to engagement isn't coming through, sounds like you're going to have some breathing room finally to go ahead and regroup, make pushes, and, you know, the Battlefield experience that people have been used to, unless it's a meat grinder map, of which this game has been nothing but meat grinder maps so far. I need a pace change. The next map that they announced is going back in a smaller direction again, but it's a fan favorite. It's Cairo Bazaar, of which has been the renamed to Grand Bazaar, but it seems like the map is changing so much that once again it's another spiritual successor type remake where they feel like they have to go ahead and give it a new naming scheme. Grand Bazaar was a lot of fun. I really liked that map in BF3. That was an iconic map for the overall look and feel of Battlefield 3. So knowing that that one is coming back has got me pretty excited. I think I'm going to have a good time with everything going on from there. And then so now we're getting into Season 4. Naval Warfare is finally returning to the game, and it looks like they're bringing everything about it that you would want it to have. Once again, only 2 maps for the season, but we've got a map that I can't even fucking pronounce, but I'm going to try to. Suru Reef, which is this huge play space. Looks like it's got an airfield here. There's a giant bay that you can fight in, possibly a resort section, multiple beach landings, very tropical, and then the legendary Wake Island. I am very excited about both of these. If you know me, I fucking love tropical locations, and it looks like they're bringing back a lot of stuff that comes with naval gameplay that actually made that stuff matter. So the big thing that BF4 had that set its naval gameplay apart from other games that they had in the series is server-side wave physics. The wave physics in Battlefield 4 actually have direct impact on the control and visibility of the combat that you're in. You can hide behind waves, you can move up and down them, you can use them as jumps. It feels great. It sets it apart from other than just like, oh, you're just on a flat surface, and instead of there being like foliage everywhere, now we've got to fucking deal with this. And so the idea of them bringing that in hopefully means that we're going to get some type of weather event that takes advantage and kicks the wave like sizes up to these massive waves that are just going to knock against everything, completely change the gameplay around. And it looks fantastic. I don't know if you've jumped into any of the water sections in Fort Linden, but water in Fort Linden feels kind of flat. It has some nice aesthetics to it, but there isn't that much special going on. It just feels like it's missing something. So by adding back in the water physics into the naval gameplay, that's going to fucking change everything, and everything's going to feel very different. Not only that, aircraft carriers are coming back in. These are both invasion type locations where you will be using aircraft carriers to attack the island in general. Wake Island is shaping up to looking pretty good. It looks like they're using Battlefield 5's version of Wake Island to kind of pull you back into where we previously left off. I'm a huge fan of that. I really love BF5's Wake Island, so this is super exciting for me to see. So it also looks like they're adding a new capture point into the island itself, which I really like the idea of doing. A lot of the times the Gulf inside of Wake Island is pretty barren and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time there doing anything. So by adding in a new flag into that middle section should actually create some pretty interesting conflict, because most of the time you're only traversing the middle section of Wake Island to try and get to any of the other sides of the peninsulas of the island. You're not actually spending any time there because it's a fucking monkey in a barrel situation. You are getting looked at by every other corner, and you're just a fucking boat in the center section here. But this is going to add some pretty interesting gameplay opportunities for cover. Maybe you're going to be able to move around a little bit better here. I don't really know exactly how it's going to play out, but overall, I think that's a good change to it, and I'm very excited to see how it's working. They're not getting rid of the aircraft carrier invasion thing, which is the biggest part about how it works. If you removed the invasion aspect of Wake Island, you don't really have Wake Island anymore. So this is great. I'm super happy about this. So moving on to Season 5, they've not really said very much other than 2 things. We've got 3 maps this time around, and they've hinted at it a little bit heavily by revealing an image that's supposed to give away somewhat of a sneak peek to it. The image is a asphalt street with a nice rain puddle and some neon lights. We've got a repair tool and a sledgehammer up in the top corner. From the way that it looks, people have been speculating on the subreddits on Twitter that this could be a Dawnbreaker remake or a Siege of Shanghai remake. It's hard to say really anything. Dawnbreaker probably makes the most sense because the neon lights and Dawnbreaker were the most iconic part of that entire map. I don't know. I mean, that's probably the more likely one. I would like to see a Siege of Shanghai remake at some point, but who knows where they're really going with it. We're just going to have to wait. On to the 3 maps. It looks like 3 maps is not going to be the new cadence for release. They're only gearing up to do a 3rd map for this season as a way of like a reintroduction into the year 2 of Battlefield 6. So Battlefield 6's remaining time in year 1 is going to just be these 2 maps every couple of months. And then by Season 3, we're going to get that 3rd map. And then hopefully there will be a huge update of bringing in the rest of everything here. So there's a few more things to note about the roadmap update that didn't get specifically mentioned but are important things to know about. Season 3 is only going to be 2 months. Season 4 is only going to be 2 months, and we don't really know where the fuck Season 5 is going to land. But that takes us to a little bit of a nicer release cadence in between everything, to where 1 map per month for both of the releases for the rest of these seasons. The other side of this as well is they did announce that they are going to rework Blackwell Fields and New Sobek City, of which to many people are the worst maps in the game. I don't really dislike them. I will prefer not to play them, but they do have their sore spots, of which both are too tiny and have two gimmicky different play styles to them, where one is incredibly sniper heavy and one of them is incredibly vehicle heavy. So with the announcements of both of those two maps, there technically is a way to spin this that they're going to be releasing 3 maps per season for the rest of the year, but we do not know when those updates to those reworks are actually going to drop. They didn't say if that's coming in season 3. They didn't see if that was coming in season 4. They just said that they're both getting adjustments made to them. I'm assuming that they must be pretty heavy adjustments for them to actually announce it this way. Because in the past, when Battlefield has been updating maps for BF6, they've just kind of redrawn boundaries, critical capture point lines, HQ lines, and didn't really tell anybody flat out that that's what they were doing. So there's a couple small stealth adjustments that have made their way. This is the first time that they've actually said flat out, hey, we hear you, we're going to change it. And so what I hope that means, at least for Blackwell Fields, that the play space is extended a little bit more into the hills to the north, just so that we have a little bit more play area to go ahead and get behind and try and get out of that tank nonsense that is fucking with everybody if you're down to the south. And for New Sobek City, I hope that's the same thing. I hope we expand more of the gameplay up towards the north, past the highway, and kind of be able to give us some sort of way to knock down those buildings. That's been the coolest suggestion I've heard about New Sobek City's issues, is because it's the snipers are just like raining hellfire down on everybody. But if I could blow that building up, I won't give that much of a fuck about what snipers get up to anymore, because there's no more building there. So if we can do that, I'd be psyched. Nobody really knows for certain what kind of updates that DICE is going to be bringing in here for this thing, but to be determined, I guess. We don't have any release cadence. We don't know what they're going to change. They just know that we don't like the maps. They'll be in labs, and we'll get to see what's going on from there. So the last thing that I want to mention is the server browser. I think that this is a great move. I'm really happy that the server browser is coming into play. The server browser's issues come from a lot more than just the server browser itself. The front-end UI experience is very cumbersome and hard to navigate through. It's hard to find the gameplay that you actually want to get into sometimes, and a lot of it is just overbearingly confusing with whatever system that they're going with. They're making a lot of the same UI mistakes that Modern Warfare 2 for 2022 and the Modern Warfare 3 remake did for Call of Duty. I wish they would just take that stuff out, go back to a very simple HUD that just says campaign, multiplayer, battle royale, like Portal, and then just let me pick in between any one of those 3. The giant UI front end section is part of the reason why the server browser currently is not that helpful. And if they can't figure out how to fix the front end experience, it doesn't really matter how much you fix the server browser, because everyone's just going to skip that shit anyways. I just hope that that's part of the plan. They haven't announced any major UI changes. They've said that they're going to look at adjusting UI, but part of making a good server browser work is overall making a better matchmaking and a better front end experience work for the player base. And I guess we'll just have to see if they actually follow through on that one. Yeah, with all that said, I am incredibly excited about this. I have a lot of hope for Battlefield 6 again, because there's just been kind of radio silence on any of these issues that have been constantly talked about online for a little while now. Nobody was really sure if DICE was actually listening to the community, or if we were just going to move on and march into season after season after season and never address any of these things. And now they just showed up and they did it. They did address a lot of the complaints. The only thing that's really left to do is to get this stuff in our hands and to say, is this good or not? I have a lot of faith that I think DICE is probably going to deliver on these things. I don't have a lot of reasons to think that they wouldn't, especially with the mention of a server browser, which people have been talking about getting a proper server browser in the game for community building and all this stuff since way before launch. And now that they're finally talking about it in this big way, of which custom servers and custom lobbies are a big part of this, this game is going to be great. The only thing that I have left to worry about that nobody has mentioned is the Portal experience. Getting a better server browser in place will help out Portal significantly, but giving these people who are working for free the time and attention of the fans that are deserving to see of their creations, that's more important than anything else when it comes to this stuff. Those people need visibility. There are some really fucking cool experiences that are going on, and props to DICE for finding those cool experiences and featuring them on the front page pretty regularly. But if you want this stuff to live, it can't just be DICE doing the heavy lifting to get that stuff the visibility it needs. Players need to be able to find this stuff naturally. If it doesn't go that way, those things are going to die in the dark most of the time. That's probably the only thing left for DICE to kind of hammer out about Battlefield 6. Get Portal to a spot where it can actually get the attention that it needs when it needs it, and don't let these people kind of fall behind. Otherwise, I think this is great. I know people are going to complain about the map cadence still isn't enough. I do agree. I do think that the map cadence isn't enough, but currently the release schedule they have is 1 map per month, which is a pretty solid thing to do for the rest of the year. It's going to be enough to keep whatever small player base that wants to keep coming back to Battlefield 6 pretty happy and pretty healthy. Like, I've complained about the release cadence of the maps over the course of Season 2, but they've done a good enough job with the release of content that I've come back once every month to try out the game and go have some fun with it. And if they bring these things back in, it's going to regularly become a game in my rotation, especially if the platoon stuff works out nicely and I can join up into games with more than 4 people and I can play and be able to identify more than 4 people on my team. That's going to be huge for my friend group. We're going to play this like fucking crazy if that is an option in here. So yeah, what do you think? Are you coming back to Battlefield 6 for this? Are you excited about the changes? Is there anything in here that you think is missing that I didn't even talk about, that DICE hasn't even talked about? What's the elephant in the room that DICE isn't addressing? Because at this point, for me personally, that is everything except for Portal that I would want them to do. I couldn't think of anything else off the top of my head. I'm sure I'm going to post this video. 7 people, fucking 5 people are going to comment and they're like, well, DICE didn't fucking talk about this. And then I'm going to just go, oh yeah, no, that is 100% something that needs to be addressed, but that's just part of life. So fuck it. Anyways, I am really excited about this. This super jazzed me up. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.